Hello there and welcome back to Around the Grid. It's been a while. I apologize. Work has been busy. I've been tired. And generally it's just been a little bit of a tough time. But today we're finally back. We are going to continue and get into the third season. We failed to get the Constructor titles here with Williams. It is what it is. Sometimes you lose. And honestly, the way that we got here was kind of insane, I'm not gonna lie. So it's all good. We might do, as I mentioned, an extra season with Williams to make up for it later on. But for now, we're gonna get started on our third season. Now we're gonna be playing with Alpine, which should be an interesting experience. Sargent and Schumacher. And also we've done a decent amount of research here for Williams. So I might have created a Titan here in Yamamoto and the Williams team. So we'll have to see if we can actually beat them in this, coming season. So we did meet all our sponsor goals here. Nothing really to bother with here. 89 million. To be fair, nothing of this really matters much to us right now. It's basically buffs for the team we're leaving. But it's always nice to see your work get, I guess, rewarded, I guess you could say. Regulation changes, wind tunnel. The team that finished first gets a lot less. That's going to really help us, boost our team next year. We're going to have 112 wind tunnel, and we're going to have 84 from 69 in terms of CFD. Again, this is basically 15 extra days. This translates to 20 extra days, so we're getting 35 extra days now of CFD, through CFD time for each CFD project, and that's going to be huge for catching up the rest. 55 to 65 in the regulation changes. And I'm going to be very curious just how far ahead the Williams team is going to be here. Because I've kind of gone probably a little bit hard into research than I should for my own sake. But it should make the third season here a little bit spicy. If you have enjoyed this series so far, I need to say this every time. Apologies. Please like, subscribe. Helps me out a ton. And with that, let's go to the pain that Floof's going to enjoy. Alpine here. And we might just have to consider taking some decisive actions here. So let's see what we can do here with the Frenchies, I guess you could say. Okay, let's see here. 7th or above, Constructor champion in 27. That would be next season. The Alpine 100 race plan is coming to fruition. 10 million is a budget. And also keep in mind, this is on 110. So the fix to engine cost is being applied here, which is going to be very, very helpful. If I had to start this season 10 million in death, I'd be a little bit worried. Okay, let's take a look at the technical here. Has Alpine done any research? And the survey says, not really. And what they've done is focused chassis. They've done really, really not a lot. Let's put it like that. So I'm getting really curious here where we're going to end up. So let's just jump into this. We do still have the extra gearboxes here, 5, 3, and 4. That's going to help us out quite a bit. Probably not going to see anything insane with the what's it called? With the pit lane starts yet, which is good. But we're going to take a quick look at what we have inherited. So, yeah, the performance here apparently is not properly preserved, but 13.81 tire preservation. I hope that's a lie. Let's take a look at our car. That's what we're going to worry about first. We're 17th currently in car performance. Car analysis. Let's take a look here. 42, 42, 43. It's not terrible. But how is it compared to the Williams? We're 1 kph behind. We're not actually that far behind, all things considered. I thought we'd be further down the line. So, yeah. Guess when you don't have too much to lose, it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, we're not as far behind as I thought. This could be probably interesting. I think for now, we're going to do the painful choice of keeping both of these. They're on a 1-year contract remaining. So if we need to, we could let them go. Stat-wise, the staffer is actually pretty good. They have Murphy, Fry, Sender. Honestly, not the worst staff you could ever get for the Alpine team here. let's just take a quick look at if we were to try and, say, replace someone. Could we do it cheaply? We could get Piastri in here for 6 million. We could get Rivas in for 16. Leclerc has a 48 million buyout fee with a year left. So yeah, we do have some options here if we do want to pay the cost. We have Paris as free agent, which honestly would be an upgrade already. So yeah, we'll have to see what we do here. I think for now we're just going to try and keep going here with Schumacher, keep going with Sargent. I think it would be a fun little side project to try and get them the title here. Maybe focus a little bit more on racing this season. And yeah, that's basically what it's going to boil down to. However, the AI is still struggling with facilities. I think I'm going to go ahead here and probably toggle on at this point the buff, so to speak. You can use the editor to force the AI to refurbish, because right now they really aren't doing it, and you can kind of see it here. We have facilities that are 50% or below for virtually everything that has been upgraded recently, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I think we do need to do that. We also do need to see here what we can get out of sponsors, and then we're going to start building our new car. So we can actually get a tier 2 race day package, but I'm kind of tempted to go more upfront. I'm not going to be honest. We'll see what we can do with the additional sponsors though before we make a decision. Again, we're just going to stack race day, because even if we should have a pretty good car for the first race of the season. That's what I'm thinking here. We should have a decent enough car that we can make something happen and get some money for basically refurbishments at this point. I do also want some upfront funding where I can find it. So we are going to add that. And lately, I think we're just going to have to ease the driver development rate down here for one of our drivers, non-race appearance times 1. The mentality with Schumacher and Sargent scares me, but it gives us a good 19 million to start off with here. 63 million in our race day budget or funding, 10 million for engagements. It should make our life a lot easier. So we're going to go ahead and confirm this. And also something that we're going to have to do now because of the changes here to drive focus is decide what we want to do here. So Schumacher has an average development rate. Even if we put him on, say, car development here, it's not going to matter much. He's not going to really improve. He's 26 years old. His rate is already low. I think I want to experiment a little bit with putting them on car development and try and get that driver preparation up, the car development speed. As I mentioned in an earlier video, when I focused on the car development speed asset, I did the same development as I did with another team. I basically copied the development schedule, copied everything, had car bar development at maximum, and the cars at the end of the season had a different 0.4% expertise total. That's really nothing, so to speak, in terms of performance. So with the car bar development speed being a pretty significant buff, it seems like this buff doesn't actually affect the expertise gain much, unless I had, a free case. I probably do need to test a little bit more, but you should take a look at it yourself. This might actually be really, really powerful. Now we're going to try it with these two. Are you really unhappy with other staff? Staff join Pat Fry? You don't have a right to complain about Fry joining Schumacher, you gremlin. But yeah, as you can imagine here, this is going to be a very interesting season. Do we also have any affiliates? Tyler Barnard and Hauger. Okay. Let's go ahead and put them on marketability. That way we can use them in schemes. Their development rates, again, has already fallen down pretty low here, down to average. So we can't really expect a lot of improvement, which is unfortunate because Hauger is Norwegian. I would love to actually make him good in a save here. The Norwegian dream, so to speak. But with that said, we have one other thing that we need to get started on. Of course, that is going to be straight up development. And we're going to do what we usually do here. Invest in the underfloor, put in all the CFD time. Again, CFD, each unit here equals a day of expertise gain. So with 112 plus 84, we basically end up with almost 200 days worth of expertise gains. And that is a huge amount of expertise gained in a very, very short amount of time. So as you can see here, it's not going to be a huge improvement, but we're going to be first in high speed. We're going to be pretty high up there in low speed with just the first assign. As you can imagine, get a few of these up and running, and we are going to be good. I'm going to rush this one. I'm going to put engineers on it because I want this one out quickly. That way we might actually get the bearings too before we go into Bahrain. And we're of course going to get the chassis sorted next. Honestly, I probably should just skip this because it's basically the same development pattern each time. And again, puts us up to very close here to the best car on the grid. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I am also, after I've done this, we're going to take a look at the editor and we're going to compare starting points across the grid here. But yeah, we are going to go and just put an extra engineer on it. We do have the money to do this, and again, just getting this done early in the season is going to be a huge help because it is going to allow us to snatch those early points, those early wins, and that is going to be probably far more helpful than a lot of people realize. So there, next up, side pods. Just engine cooling and airflow middle. We're going to add in drag reduction later on for top speed, but early season, cooling. Use less components. We have a lot of spare components, but I still want to use less if I can, because it's Schumacher and Sargent. We're going to crash. And we can, again, just get that top speed back later on. It's not really a huge deal. But yeah, that's our development sorted. With everything kind of prepped here, let's take a look at how every car looks in the editor, how they square up against each other. So here we are with the performance stats at the start of the season. And honestly, I have to say that I am very disappointed with myself because we find ourselves here with Williams. We're actually the sixth fastest team. So we're actually down here by Ferrari. So research-wise, I have definitely not done as well as I could have. And I'm kind of concerned here because I definitely thought I did a better job. But maybe we're further behind than I thought to begin with. Alpine, we find ourselves down here. We're actually in a pretty good position, all things considered. We're not too far behind. And also, ATG has fallen from grace here. They are the lowest rated team currently. So this probably is going to be a little bit easier than anticipated. Honestly, I thought, as I mentioned, I did a better job with the research. Clearly, I did not. Kind of embarrassed there. Now, as I mentioned, we are also going to go ahead and do a little bit of a setting here, and that is the refurbish. We're going to put that to active. And the reason why we're doing this is pretty straightforward. Enabling it fixes the AI not refurbishing the facilities, even in low conditions. And as you can imagine, if our facilities are as broken as they are right now at the start of this season, the AI's facilities are going to be even, well, worse most likely. Let's be honest. So let's go ahead and add that to the save. And with that, let us get into this. It says something went wrong at tool. I'm going to fix that. But yeah, a little bit disappointed here that Williams find themselves here. We find ourselves down here. It seems like a pretty big gap, but honestly not huge at all. We're just 3% or so behind, 5% or so behind Red Bull here. And that should be an easy gap to close when we're all below 50% expertise. But yeah, let's get into the season. Let's see if we can actually have something happen here, something fun. It just takes 3 days for Alpine to disappoint us. I wish I was joking. We need to pause all design work for a week, 3rd of January, 2026. 3 days is all it took for sadness to envelop me. But on the positive side, we can take a look at the rosters here. For Red Bull, we have Verstappen and Sainz. Williams have Albon and Yamamoto. They haven't made any changes. That one's pretty obvious. For Ferrari, Leclerc, Hamilton, still the same. Still the same for McLaren. Rivas and now Russell at ATG. Bottas and Show at Aston. Alonso and Stroll at Mercedes. Tsunoda and Gasly at RB. Ricciardo and Hülkenberg at Kick. Lawson, Ocon at Haas. And then we have our painful duo, Schumacher and Sargent. But yeah, I think I also am going to go ahead and just say that we are going to hold off on doing anything with our current facilities. I think we're going to wait until we get to the first couple of races here, so we know where we stand financially. I can refurbish things like, you know, the tour center, that's pretty cheap. The weather center, that's pretty cheap. I think we'll just go ahead and get started on a little bit of refurbishment on these cheap buildings to, let's say, lessen the debuff a little bit. But at the same time, I'm probably going to want to upgrade the team hub and race sim. There's no point in refurbishing them if I'm going to do that. And honestly, refurbishing the wind tunnel or the CFD simulator this time with how much that costs just doesn't make sense to me. And again, factory, design center, suspension sim, car part test center, I'd rather upgrade these than spend basically 25% of the upgrade budget refurbishing them. So we'll leave those as they are for now. We're going to start building helipads, of course, but for now, I'm just going to put the car together and we're going to get ready for Bahrain. When it comes to the pick crew we have inherited, they're actually not that bad. We have focused on getting that chance of mistake down to 8%, but honestly, it's kind of at the limit of what we can do here. As you can see, we are limited by Sender, 83. We need to get his morale up, or his mentality up before we can take any more advantage of it. And we're at 2.4 second pace stops. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with these guys. They'll get the job done for sure. I've also gotten started here on the second set of parts. We're making a front wing, we're making a rear wing. None of these are with CFD. We'll put that in at a later time. But basically, we are making these kind of normally now just to have the pieces available. We're also making some side pods and chassis. This is second design, just for expertise building. And it looks like we're going to have a pretty decent car come secure. It's still 25 days away. Let's see what we can do. Sergeant is at least neutral for now. Most of the team is neutral, so mentality-wise, we're already on the right track. Just want to highlight here a little bit about just how strong the affiliate marketing is. So Hauger here is giving us 3,000 points, almost. Bernard is giving us 1,500, and with that, we're almost 2 times over our limit. As you can imagine here, having an affiliate or two, just working the, well, the mentality angle, the sponsorship angle, marketing, can be pretty huge. Now, we're actually getting very closer to the season start. We have everything but front wing and rear wing. As I said, I took it a little bit slow with them. There's no need really to rush them. So I haven't bothered doing that. We are actually going to potentially get one front wing. As you can see, it's going to get done in one day. So if we really want to, we can get one on the car. And we are getting a new safety period basically right here at the end of the next week. So I don't think we're going to do anything with this front wing once, or with this design slot, once we actually go to the race weekend, because I want to keep that open for the next ATR period. I'm going to be perfectly honest, but we're actually going to be able to put one front wing on the car, and I'm going to go ahead and manufacture that. Just that one. We're going to make 4 of these. They'll keep us running for a while. And as I mentioned here, we might have gone a little bit too hard on the, again, the development angle. I feel like we probably are a little bit further ahead of the curve than I want to be. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's unfortunate, yes. But since we're sticking with Schumacher and we're sticking with Sargent here, I feel like that's an acceptable trade-off. And I'm probably going to regret saying those words a little bit later on. But yeah, the other teams here have also developed. We could probably take another look on the editor to see where they're at now. I think that could be a little bit interesting as well. But we're ready for Bahrain. We have got the first of the front wings. So let's take a look here at where we stand right now. How are we compared to Red Bull, who's still the quickest team? A little bit behind, not by much. Honestly, we should be able to close this down with relative ease. They made the car slightly lighter. And if we take car 1 here now, because I'm kind of torn between getting Schumacher Championship or getting the Freedom Tower one. And already, as you can see here, we're jumping up 4 places, 2 places, 6 places, 12 places, just from the chassis alone. So this is going to be probably insane. That front wing puts us basically at the front of the grid already on low speed. We don't have the rear wing yet, but we'll have it probably before Jeddah. Side pods, they are gonna 6-9, 18 places on cooling. As you can imagine, this is gonna be pretty strong. And I don't even know if the underfloor has any improvement to offer. As you can see, this is the improvement that is being given to car 2 that doesn't have the front wing. So keep that in mind. But both cars should be probably hitting a little bit above their weight here. So let's install this. Let's take a look now. How is our car actually looking? First, and second. I would assume our other car is first. 16 in low speed versus first. So definitely that front wing is huge. Look at that. The difference that front wing makes is absolutely insane. From backmarker to dominating. And this is actually good now. They've kind of fixed the overall rankings. We have 21st, 22nd. But we're still the third best car. 12th best car for this one. Which kind of makes sense. We're lacking a little low speed cornering. But I think this should be a very, very good start to the season. Unfortunately, Schumacher does not agree with me. Facilities, car performance, staff, facility conditions. He's unhappy with the championship result from last year. I can't do anything about that, buddy. Please don't judge me for your failures of last season. But on the other hand, I am going to get started here now. We have 14 million. Let's get that team hub started. The race sim here, probably a little bit too early for that. Need to have a little bit of money in the bank. But I can start building the helipad. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, with that, Schumacher now has been put back to basic mentality, and honestly, that's huge because, again, mentality and qualifying is going to have a huge effect on whether or not these two are going to bin it into the wall. So let's see how this first race weekend goes. Hopefully, we can have a good start to our season. So, life is not all sunshines and rainbows just yet, and Schumacher kind of exemplifies that by getting knocked out in 16th. And to make pain even painer, Sargent is 18th. We did a lot of laps, we tried, but honestly, we just couldn't make it happen. And Yamamoto here might be very, very scary this year. Now, we have some interesting here, Williams on top, Red Bulls, then RBs. So perhaps the scheduling, or rather the editor, maybe it gave us a false hope for the future, which honestly seems to be the case here. And yeah, I definitely do need to get that new underfloor sorted. We do still need that second edition of it. I was probably a little bit cocky here because I thought we could kind of just take it easy here to get to basically the end of get a couple of early wins here. But it looks like fate has decided that no, you were too cocky. We're going to punish you. Good luck, basically. So we're going to get everything set up here. We're starting 18th and 16th. In terms of our goals for this race, as long as we finished 18th or above with both of our drivers, we're going to get paid. So that will be good. But we definitely do need a couple more upgrades on the car. This isn't just the fact that the car is. It's Schumacher being rated 77, facing up against 90-ish drivers, 85 to 90. And he's definitely not having a good time doing that. It's definitely being very, very bad. Remember, Schumacher has a front wing that Sargent does not. And even with that, he is in a pretty bad spot now. We do have a session effect of lower driver development rate, which also, I believe, come with less mentality. That is probably also going to be playing a bit of a part here. Honestly, getting it done in Bahrain, or basically the first couple of races, would be good as well. So I'm not all negative about this. But Williams, pole position, first race of the season, kind of as we expected. The Red Bulls and the RBs lining up right behind with Gasly and Tsunoda. Probably not what we expected, I'm going to have to be honest. But yeah, I'm going to do the risky thing here. I'm going to both of them high overtake aggression. Oh. And we'll see if we can make something happen here. Both of our drivers fall down places at the start. Not the best start we've ever had, and it would be poetic if they just immediately take each other out. Sargent showing that I really should have given him the buffed pass. But let's see what this first race has to offer. Hopefully something more than, you know, last and second to last. We've had our first incident of the season, and praise the anything. It wasn't us this time. It was Norris, and I believe that was Rivas who had a little bit of an incident. And for Rivas, it seems to actually straight up be a DNF here. Now, did Lando destroy his tires? Not by a huge margin. But Rivas, it does seem to be in the position of potentially just having to DNF. Norris, is that wing damage? Yeah, it should be wing damage for the most part. Could be also some suspension.
Good job, keep it up.
But that's lucky for us. Should help us get a little bit extra money.
Russell's the car.
So far, it has to be said, our boys are doing a good job of recovery. Both of them in the points. But if you consider the fact that we have quite a number of cars behind us that have already pitted, let's ignore Rivas and Stroll because they were behind us to begin with. But 6 positions down. We're still not in the worst spot right now. We are working our way upwards. And definitely getting in the rear wing would help our current predicament. But yeah, it looks like we could potentially score a couple of good points at the start of the season, which would be great. But interesting enough, Sargent is keeping Mick at bay. Mick has not been able to pull away, create any sort of gap. And Sargent is doing a pretty good job here in inferior machinery. Our first pit stop here is nearing, and we're going to get Schumacher in first because, well, they're running inside each other still, so we kind of have to. But at this point, we have actually caught up with Piastri, Verstappen, Sainz. You know, the Williams are dangerously close. No way we're going to be able to cause them any sort of discomfort this first race of the season. But points is definitely looking on the table here. After we pit, we're going to come out probably around 12th, 13th. So we shouldn't be too far off here. A potentially decent points finish. We're also going to get Sargent here, just prepped and set up. And let's see if our pit stops are going to be cursed this year, or we're going to have a good one. 2.4, exactly as expected there for Schumacher's stop. And he does actually come out in 11th, sneaks out ahead of Hamilton. And with just 3 seconds up to Gasly in the points, 6 seconds up to potentially 6th place. It's looking very, very good. Let's see if we can get just as nice of a stop for Logan Sargent, who is currently, surprisingly, in the lead. Not bad to basically have led a lap with an Alpine. I know that we're going to get overtaken here before the line because we're pitting. And we're also going to have a little bit of a pit duel here with Piastri. Do they have a clean stop? Very clean back there. Can we do the same? No. Bit slower, allows Piastri to filter through here. And we have lost about 2-3 seconds up to Schumacher, which isn't a huge deal. We'll be able to deal with that. We're just going to burn these mediums as quick as possible, and then going to get on that final soft stint. And that should hopefully secure our first couple of points this year.
Now we're at turn 11 now. Not a lot of wiggle room here.
The pain train has left the station as
Cars there, unable to keep out of each other's way.
Sargent
Knocked their confidence, I'm sure.
deleted the Aston somehow. I don't know how he did that. That was actually kind of nasty.
Just like that.
I need a different angle for that incident, but yeah. Logan has put show in the dirt here, and also shaved a part of his front wing off in the process. So I think we might be eating a penalty here in near future, which is not great. And he did in fact get a penalty. First race of the season. Good to know that nothing changes for Sargent. 26 laps into the season, first penalty has been picked up. First incident has occurred, and the paint train has a new passenger, and I'm all for it. Another incident happens here, and Norris with the second incident of the evening, as he gets sent to the Shadow Realm there in maybe a similar fashion to Sargent, but nothing too serious. Just wanted to spook you guys a little bit. But Sargent is looking good right now. He has gotten back up to the train here with Bottas. Hopefully we can move up a little bit further. Schumacher isn't that far off the lead. Just 15 seconds here. So podium might be on the table. Honestly. We're not too far off that. We're going to have to see what we can do though. Still a lot of racing to be done. We have yet another incident. This time it is Charles. He makes a move on the Aston, but instead locks up and hits him. Then does a little bit of a power slide, just to re-establish dominance. But yeah, not a good one there. But again, it's just very helpful for us. Sargent is basically around that train anyways. So for him, this is actually pretty good. But we are also getting to the point right now where we are going to consider pitting. And for Schumacher, I think we're going to stay out one more lap. And the reason why we're doing that is genuinely just to have a little bit more soft to go full attack towards the end. Pray that we might get a safety car. It is a pretty crash heavy race so far, let's be honest. So we might get a safety car, but I think we do need to get Schumacher in here, and we're also going to get Sargent on the pit next lap order. And that should be both of them going to the final slot that they're going to be running till the end. And as I mentioned here, we're not too far off the podium. Yamamoto has pitted, Gasly hasn't, Piastri hasn't, Tsunoda hasn't. So the reality of the situation is we are 6 seconds or so off, which is not bad. Now, to be fair, Sainz and Verstappen are probably going to just, barrel back up. So we're going to have to fight one of the Red Bulls and Yamamoto for the podium. But, yeah, it doesn't seem that likely, honestly. I'm probably sniffing a little bit of hopium here. Let's see if Schumacher can have a clean stop. That's going to be very, very important to make this even have a chance of working. 2.3, beautiful. And for Sargent, we'll have to see how his stop is. But out in 9th here, a couple of seconds behind Bottas, 10 seconds of clean air after it clears him. That should be more than good enough to catch up to the other cars that are in podium contention, so to speak. But yeah, for Sargent, let's just go ahead here and get his pit stop started. And Gasly is actually pitting at the same time. Gasly found his way back to RB. And they had a clean stop. Can we do the same after serving the penalty? Yeah, basically that is as clean as it is going to be, I think. Out in 13th here. Back up to 12th. So, Sargent is a little bit off the points here. About 10 seconds or so, if we want to be generous. And honestly, not that far off 6th place either here. So, well, it might look a little bit bad. I think we still have a pretty decent shot at things here. Let's see how these last 17 laps develop. We are getting very close to the end here, and we've actually caught up to Verstappen right now, who has suffered a little bit. He had a bit of a lockup, lost him a little bit of time here. And that has put Schumacher right on his tail with just a few laps to go here. I don't think we can catch Yamamoto. I don't think we can catch Sainz. But Verstappen is definitely within our sights. For Sargent, he is not having the best ending here, but with Albon and Hamilton both having used their tires basically up at this point, they should, in theory, be kind of free food here for us, I would think. So this should be a pretty decent start to our season. Definitely not what you expected from our qualifying when we qualified 16th and 18th, but as I mentioned, we have horrible DRS efficiency in the low 40s. So as you can imagine, that probably is playing a part here, and it's also probably why we're struggling to get away from Verstappen. So I think we're going to have to play this a little bit more tactical, if you will. So I'm going to allow Sargent here to push. We want to try and catch Albon, as I mentioned, if we can. An extra point would always be nice, and also getting away from Hamilton is an added benefit. For Mick here, I'm going to go with a little bit of harvesting, because we just need to get away from Verstappen on the final lap if we can. Save everything until then. We don't have enough of a speed advantage here, I think, that we are going to get away from him in... we're basically not going to be able to break away from his DRS. And with his DRS advantage, he's going to overtake us every time. Sargent, though, is also getting to Albon. I think we're going to deploy a little bit, make sure that we catch up and get there, and stay there, more like it. But it's actually a good place to overtake Verstappen, because now he should re-overtake us. And then we can start making something happen as Sargent here flies by him. Last lap. Everything is up for grabs.
That's good.
Verstappen should just get us here with the overspeed of the DRS. And honestly, I'm very happy with that. It's not a big problem. Sargent has great gap to Albon. He should be safe here. Can't catch Bottas, but that is not a problem. Honestly, all we need to do now is just have Schumacher stay as close to Verstappen as he can. Verstappen is really flying right now. He gained a second. Like nothing. So maybe I've thrown away this podium here. Being a little bit too careful. Being a little bit too cowardly. Because I thought we'd get re-overtaken. And that is definitely what has happened here, unfortunately. But 4th place is still a good recovery drive. It also does show, however, that the opponents are not going to be holding their punches, as Schumacher takes a beautiful pass there.
Okay, and that is the checkered flag.
And probably ran out of fuel at the same time. That was actually a really, really beautiful pass in the last few corners. Sargent here should come into 9th place. Podium for Schumacher. A very, very good start to the year. Gasly in the 5th. Tsunoda in 7th. The RBs might be a little bit scary. Red Bulls are scary as usual. Albon ends up in 10th. And again, this is just, as I mentioned, just how different, how much of a difference a driver can make. So, good 30 seconds there between Yamamoto and Albon. That's pretty insane, if you ask me. But yeah, 3rd place here, 9th place. Again, Sargent missing the front wing, Sargent having an incident. He can be forgiven in this case. But I'd say that is a good first race of the year. Now, financially, we are doing very, very good. Unfortunately, both of them have contract bonuses. That's going to tear into my profits a little bit. Really hate these, I'm going to be honest. We're basically going to be paying out 2.4 million extra a year. But we're getting 1.3 million as long as we finish 18th or higher, which should really make the refurbishments that we need a lot easier to pull through. Side pods and chassis has been designed, and I'm going to design something that I did kind of forget about, which is the 2nd underfloor. And we can actually get a pretty good comparison to the 1st underfloor here already. And this is the interesting part here. So this is comparison to that initial underfloor I designed. And we can already see, before we even move the minimum lifespan slider, that we are getting boosts basically across the board. Now when I move this thing, 41, 14, 16, it might not seem like an insane amount, but it's pretty substantial. And again, this is just from the CFD time. We're going to do this to, as I mentioned, the front wing and the rear wing as well. So as you can imagine, those are going to get some pretty significant boosts down the line. But we're just going to make this one normally. We're also going to start it on, I think, another suspension design. I do want to, again, just boost the other parts here through just continued designing. You can see we're already getting a 1.5% gain here in tire preservation, just purely from doing one design. So as we do more of these, we should get more tire preservation, we should get more top speed, a little bit of cornering. And that is honestly all I can ask for. Tomorrow also, we should be getting a new safety period if we haven't already. Take a look at that in a second, but we're also getting in development as we kind of expected. But yeah, I believe we're getting safety period on the morrow. So we're going to get that, and then we're going to get started on that new front wing. And in Jeddah, both cars are going to have the new spec, and that's going to help us out quite a bit. Might also need to go ahead and fix this schedule a little bit, because as you can see, we don't really need to focus on pit stop trading anymore. So I'll sort that out. We'll try and keep the pit stop times as they are. But for now, I just want to go one day forwards. And then we are going to get started on that new front wing. So let's get the design started. Front wing, put in all of our safety and wind tunnel hours. And again, this basically amounts to 200 extra days of research or development, which is, again, close to 7 months. Basically half a year of effort in each CFD period. And if you think about it from that perspective, that makes it kind of insane. And already with just that as a base, we're getting 15, 5, 6. Again, doesn't seem like a lot. It's going to be more on the next iteration. Now, I don't think we need to rush this one financially. So what I'm going to do is just put extra engineers on it. Like so. Because I still want to refurbish the buildings. I still need to get that mentality up for both of our boys to make sure that they are competitive. So we are Going to be playing things a little bit safe here, but we can at least upgrade the race sim now. And then we can consider what we want to do with these buildings, because I would like to upgrade them, I'm not going to lie. But again, costs are very high. It's very problematic. But let's see what we can do in Jeddah when both cars are running that new front wing. And yeah, everything is sorted here. Every car has everything. The new rear wing that we are designing, we are getting in 14 days. It, of course, did get delayed. Because, as mentioned, the first front wing and the rear wing was actually slated to be delivered pretty soon to each other. But it got delayed pretty massively here. But in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have this. And I think that kind of coincides with having it ready for Australia. So we should be good from there on out. But yeah, mentality has been boosted. Let's head to Jeddah. Let's see if we can maybe get Sargent a podium as well. While still not stellar, the qualifying in Jeddah here went a lot better. Sargent found a 4th place, Schumacher a 9th, and well, Sainz here was just untouchable. 3/10 ahead of Yamamoto. Tsunoda finds himself in 3rd. And yeah, it's shaping up to be a pretty weird season, all things considered. Let's see what we can actually get done here. Now, in terms of strategy, it is Jeddah. One stop here probably would be the wisest thing I could do for myself. AI seems to disagree though, so maybe we try something a little bit cheekier, similarly to what we did in Bahrain. It seems to be the fastest, but the problem again with this strategy, the problem that we're going to have running the initial light soft into a full attack medium is straight up going to be the fact that we need to make our way through traffic. And depending on when that traffic arrives, life could get really, really rough. But I have already put myself on the pain train. Why not go all in? We're going to do a 2-stopper here. Let's see if we can actually make this work. We do have 2 fresh sets of softs. We actually also have the fresh hard. So if there's a red flying here, which is very likely, we can make something happen. Setups aren't terrible. I think we are looking a-okay. Just need to underfuel. And then we'll get started here. And hopefully Sargent can get his podium. He had a very, very good qualifying in 4th. A little bit worse there for Schumacher. Got blocked by Leclerc, who ended up behind him. Which probably is the case of karma. But let's see here what we can do now at the start of this race. So Schumacher already making a bit of move on Albon. Sargent is still very nicely situated, squeezed in between the RBs. And for Schumacher now, it is basically just a little bit of management. And honestly, that's going to be the case here probably for Sargent as well. For the first few laps, there isn't really much to do. Just make sure that we turn off energy at a point where we have probably 50% to 40% of our battery remaining. So probably halfway through this lap. And that'll keep us competitive later on. Sargent has already been left behind. That's not a huge surprise. It is kind of what you expect when you run a bit of a line-stop strategy. We are going to be falling backwards, particularly early on. But whatever we lose right now in terms of pace, we'll be getting back towards when the pit stops happen. So I'm not worried. I still think we can make something out of this. Podium is going to be difficult, but not impossible. We have a red flag here. Sun has made it up into 4th, Schumacher to 6th. So this kind of plays to our strengths. Leclerc has found the wall. Seems to be involved with the... what is that? Is that Rivas as well? Yes. So we've had a little bit of a red flag here. Luckily for me, I've been able to pause it in time. So we can actually do a little bit of a review here of what we should do strategy-wise. So let's say that we start on the hard tire. We'll go 2 laps. That's generally how it works. If we start on the hard tire and go hard to soft, that is viable. What if we do, say, a light soft? We do have another fresh soft, so I have no idea why you're doing that. Yeah, what if we do a full attack medium into full attack hard? Would that be viable? Probably the other way around would be better. It would be risky, but it would be faster than this strategy. Although, let's face it, should be able to cut off 2 seconds there, and we do play a little bit of a risk here with the tire degradation. But if I do a medium into a hard on full attack, we take a little bit better care of it. Because as you can imagine here, destroying the medium is not within our interest. Taking a little bit better care of it would be. And also, I've done a bit of a mistake. I need to put this to level 13 to get a proper representation. We could do this, play a little bit safer. Wouldn't be a bad idea. It's still supposed to be faster, but remember, we get a free pit stop. Sergeant, he should have for sure 2 fresh softs. So I want to see if what is his estimations for doing a light soft into a full attack hard, or, you know, a full attack medium towards the end. What would be best out of those two? Let's change this to a hard. Again, we're doing a little bit of theory crafting here, but honestly, it's better to do it here than at the restart. So this would still be faster. This leaves us with a little bit more wiggle room, particularly in terms of the... I think this is going to be faster. Like, this is faster on paper. But if you look at the tire that we have left for both of these, we can run full attacks off, so a few laps. That's going to cut down that 1 second easily. And the other strategy that we wanted to try out is just a very simple, what if we ignore the medium and go something like this? Sorry, ignore the soft and go something like this. It's going to be fastest, but again, it carries the risk, and it's just 2 seconds. I think we put Sergeant on this one, put him on the soft on light. And for Schumacher, we're going to gamble with the full attack hard into a soft tire. I think I do want to try that, or we go medium or full attack, medium aggressive into a hard. That could work too. But both of these have their strengths and weaknesses. I think we go full attack hard. We go full attack hard from the get-go. That way we can kind of adjust to the degradation. So let's try and put them on basically flip strategies here and see what we can do. Okay. Sorry. Bit of a timeout there. We do want to try and make the most out of this race. Okay, so he's spun, and I assume Rivas then just avoids him. Because Rivas was here, remember. It just avoids him without crashing, so Rivas is actually safe. Bit unfortunate for Leclerc here. But yeah, Schumacher, you go hard. This actually, I wish I could just do what I just did in this screen. It would be beautiful. It would make the red flags so much better. But unfortunately we can't. But yeah, we'll have to see what tires the others are going to use now. Soft, 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 soft. Yeah, we're the only hard runner, except for the Aston. So up front here, Tsunoda's actually on hards. Tsunoda is actually on hards. So, with the exception of Tsunoda, most of the cars that are committing to an extra stop here. Okay, this is going to get interesting then, because Sergeant, as mentioned here, we're just managing. We're doing kind of what we did earlier. We're going to go deploy though. Kind of forgot about that. And for Schumacher, we're going to try and let him go if he catches up to Sergeant. And then we'll have a look at how the degradation compares to the rest. And then we'll make a decision a little bit later. But yeah, let's see what we can do here. Do we get another red flag? Are we going to be fine? We'll have to wait and see. We've had another incident. I could imagine this is going to turn into probably something a little bit more than just a safety car. As you can see here, Tsunoda and Bottas has had a little bit of a kerfuffle. Verstappen and Gas are going to the pits. We're going to try and get Schumacher into the pits too here, because honestly, what we're doing with him just is not working right now. And I'm going to be honest here, everyone is going to pit anyways. Most cars are under 70%. Sargent could play the gamble here, but I don't think it's going to pay off. So for him, I think we just put him on the hard tire and try and nurse it till the end, if we can. For Schumacher, I think we just have no choice to put him on a medium, do a extra stop strategy. I think that is the best that we can do. Let's see what we can sort here.
Let's get back on it.
This should be
Gap
a
behind.
red flag though, and it is. So Schumacher has not had a good time with the hard strategy. As you can see, he's fallen down to 10th. He wasn't really keeping up with the DRS strings up front either. And that is pretty bad. So we're going to have to figure out what we want to do here. For him, he has a medium that could make it till the end. I'll be honest, he could make it. But I don't think that is likely. And that's kind of where we have a bit of a problem with the strategy right now. So for Schumacher, well, this could be done. This is going to be a lot quicker. Just wondering if it's worth it, honestly. But I think that's what we're going to gamble on. For Sargent here, the gamble is a lot easier because we still have that hard tire. We can just run it standard and it will make it to the end, no problem. And it just is the best option here. Schumacher needs to make a place as he's down 10. Sargent is on a podium place. He is a lot safer, so
It's red flag.
let's just go with the base strategies, if you will. Okay, yeah, so he hits the wall and then Bottas hits him. And we're very lucky to not be collected there as well. But yeah, we are going to go with the strategies that we have envisioned here. And pray for the best, honestly.
We're ready to get this race underway again.
Williams, both of them, all top 4 here are doing the same thing.
Lights out, and away we go.
Every top 4 team is doing the same thing. It's just survive till the end. It's straight up survival. Verstappen has gone for a soft tire. He is going to be pitting again.
Very helpful. That
Schumacher. Most of these guys are going to be doing basically the exact same thing here. We're going to deploy. We're going to go balance here because fuel is basically fixed at this point. But yeah, Schumacher's going to need to push. Sargent just needs to manage, try and stay with the Williams here and Sainz, and then try and make something happen at the end. Let's see what we can do here. We are getting increasingly close to the end here. Sargent has fallen down to 9th, but he is just 6 seconds off the lead, so with a bit of a tire advantage here, particularly with Piastri needs to pit, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Norris, as well as the top runners here. Verstappen with a 53% soft tires with 10 laps to go. We could see Sargent make something happen. Schumacher has pitted. He's not in a great spot, let's face it here. And honestly, we kind of do need him to push as best as he can. Probably turn him up to aggressive at least while he's in free air. And try and create a little bit of a gap to the cars that are potentially going to be pitting here. Now, for Sargent, the key here is just going to be to start slowly moving forwards. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. We are going to be using energy. We are going to be pushing tires a bit now with just 8 laps remaining. And we're going to try and use these 2 things to move upwards and get back within podium range. With just a few laps remaining now, Sargent makes it up into 4th place. We have been managing pretty well, I dare say. Schumacher is also getting back into the points here, is pushing, and Verstappen with 42%, Yamamoto with 40, Sainz with 44, and as you can see, Norris is about to get a puncture, so it's not bad for Schumacher. 8th place is not great, but also not terrible considering the starting point. And Sargent now is chasing down that final podium slot, but let's face it, the win here is also up for grabs potentially. We're going to speed things up a little bit. But it's gonna rely heavily on just clearing Yamamoto here and chasing down the other two Red Bulls with basically as soon as possible. And right now, our DRS still is quite lacking. Now at this point, however, we're going to turn Schumacher up too. He is 9 seconds behind this squabble of cars, but he should have a pretty significant tire advantage. So I think by pushing, we're probably not going to catch, but at least we can try. Now, for Sargent here, I want him to catch Verstappen as soon as possible. If possible. If not, leave the Williams behind. And we are doing that. I'm still going to push energy here until we catch up. And we can do a little bit of harvesting. That is 3 seconds. With a full battery, that is very much doable. And even now, we can go ahead and push a little bit harder now. Sargent and Verstappen squabbling, but we're still cashing the cars out. And look at Schumacher, just 3 seconds now behind the other squabble, so to speak. Do a little bit of harvesting here on this lap. And then we're going to go full send on the final lap. Try and chase down Sainz. Let's see if we get that finish that we've been waiting for. Hopefully we can. Maybe we won't. But we can at least try. Schumacher here too. We're going to go deploy. Sargent is now within DRS, is chasing down Sainz. This is probably going to be our best option to get this done. So let's see what happens. The chase is on, and the move
Starting last lap.
is being made by Sargent here. And with the battery that we have left, this should be a win. Schumacher, however, is being in a little bit of a more precarious position, fighting both Williams. Sargent is slowly getting away here. Slowly, mind you. And for Schumacher, that is one Williams. Can we get Albon? Can we get Gasly? That is going to be the question as we now also approach the final DRS zone here with Sainz and Verstappen chasing us down. No battery. Probably going to get taken here on the inside, unfortunately. But for Sargent here, this is a good, honourable attempt.
No more over.
For Schumacher, looks like we might get one more look at it. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough.
You can.
Sargent finishes second,
Behind.
and Schumacher actually gets overtaken here.
Flag.
Who also checkered flag and ends up 8th. That's not the best finish we've ever had. That is very disappointing. Very, very disappointing, I'm not gonna lie.
For Fernando Alonso.
And for them, it's P16.
But yeah, 2nd, 8th, not the worst result here in Jeddah, honestly. And with that, we move up to 2nd place. And unfortunately with that, I'm gonna have to end this episode. So I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Been a bit of a rocky start here to the Alpine tenure, but I think Schumacher and Sargent is going to make this a fun season. We'll take a look at the Red Wing next time. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye!